the stunning and remote Highlands of Scotland, expectant mums can face harsh challenges.
You struggle for signal out here, then, don't you?
I'll try again.
I don't really fancy being on the other end of his horns.
With hospitals few and far between,
Hi, Shelley.
the midwife's role here is key.
Feel free to move me anytime.
I'm thinking this'll come on thick and fast.
No, it'll start mild.
They form close and special bonds with all their mums-to-be.
That's very rewarding, being part of this amazing experience of somebody's life.
She's there by their side, all the way to delivery.
Will you just let your body do what it needs to do?
She needs to think on her feet,
We're going. I'm coming with you.
rise to some extraordinary challenges,
Unfortunately, we can't get a plane due to adverse weather conditions.
and sometimes face handing her expectant mums over to hospital-based midwives when things don't go to plan. But for her, it's the best job in all the world.
Part of the job, it's so lovely getting a wee cuddle at the end of it.
She is the Highland Midwife.
It's a privilege to be at such a special moment, even after 30 odd years.
Tonight, midwife Pam tries to help her mum-to-be whose baby is now much larger than expected.
This is quite a big baby.
The baby's measuring bigger than they would have hoped at this stage. Yeah, we'll wait and see.
Midwife Claire keeps a close eye on her mum-to-be who has MS.
Any headaches?
I have at the weekend. I had bloodiness.
Okay.
And midwife Alison has to act quickly when one mum's blood pressure becomes dangerously high.
That's reading quite high. The hospital, they'd like you to go in. Today, not tomorrow.
Oh.
Sitting below the UK's highest mountain is the town of Fort William. Midwives here work out of a unit that offers the opportunity for a local birth.
Always have the odd baby. Too much nonsense there.
Midwife Pam knows her mum-to-be Michelle wants to give birth here. Michelle has never forgotten the difficult birth of her first child when she had to travel in winter for 2.5 hours to the city hospital.
With Connor, we had to go up to the hospital. We had to travel up in the snow, and you just feel exhausted. I didn't have my midwife nearby. You don't know what to expect. The people that you've been with for your whole pregnancy aren't there. Everybody's saying, oh, this is your fourth. You know what to expect, but you really don't. You don't know what each birth's going to be. So I'm actually quite scared.
Midwife Pam fears Michelle is right to be worried. At 36 weeks, she's growing a large baby.
The concern is, at the moment, this baby is growing on the 95th centile of the growth chart. The thing that we've just got to rule out is that Michelle hasn't got pregnancy-induced diabetes. And if it is that Michelle is diabetic during this pregnancy, then that baby will need closer observation.
Pam has called her into the midwife unit for tests.
We want to do, now we've taken your blood, it give you a really sugary drink. And then get your blood again. On you get, honey. I'm measuring you at roughly at 38. This is quite a big baby.
Baby's measuring slightly bigger than they would have hoped at this stage. So every test's important. It's always a worry. So yeah, we'll wait and see.
115 miles north of Fort William is the village of Golspie in Sutherland. Claire is one of the midwives here, and she's looking after Siobhan, who's expecting her second baby, but there's an added complication.
Siobhan, this time she has got a diagnosis of MS, which she didn't have when she had Harvey.
You're standing on your name. About 10 months after I had Harvey, I had some numbness in my leg. I got taken into hospital and ended up being diagnosed with MS 2 weeks later. So that was a bit of a shock. I got put on a trial drug, but I ended up being quite poorly and my moods were really low. They told me to give my body a rest and had said that if I had thought about having any more children in the future, that now was a good time. Because if I had gone on to another drug, I couldn't fall pregnant. It'd be so dangerous while being on the drugs.
There are some therapies that are used in the treatment of MS that women would be advised not to become pregnant when taking. And also if there was uncertainty regarding subsequent fertility, that would obviously be quite a concern for Siobhan.
You're eating it all. Let's stop. Coming up to my 6 months of having time off that I found out that I was expecting, so I think it was supposed to be. Not today though. Not ready today.
Midwife Claire has been monitoring Siobhan closely during pregnancy.
Siobhan's 36-week check today. Despite having had a number of complications which have meant admissions to hospital, she's done really well. She's a coper, she's a wee trooper. Do you have any other symptoms? Any headaches?
I have been having headaches the last few nights, but it's because I thought it was because I wasn't sleeping.
Any eyesight problems, like flashing lights or anything like that?
I forgot about this. I had bloodiness at the weekend.
Okay, right. And with your MS, have you had eyesight problems at all?
Yeah, that's happened twice with my MS. That same thing.
So I'll just get you to do your urine sample now, and as well as the usual things we're checking for infection, glucose, I'll also check for protein today. Okay, so your urine hasn't shown any protein, so that's good. The moment I'm happy that you don't need to go down to the hospital to get seen. If you do start getting a severe headache, if you start getting any eyesight problems that are different to what you've just described, then I'd want you to phone Ward 9A and you would get checked down there.
There's no point in worrying.
There's no point worrying because we don't want you getting stressed and that, making your blood pressure go higher. See you soon. Bye.
I'm starting to feel quite fed up. There's just no point in worrying about it. It'll be what it'll be. Just take it from there.
Midwives always want everything to be well and normal with a woman, but we're also very mindful that complications do occur.
The midwives of Fort William cover a huge area of 2,000 square miles across mountainous terrain. Part of the team is midwife Alison.
I'm just going to take it really, really steady. So if you meet something coming the opposite way, that's when you've got the issues. And when we get in situations like this with a Highland cow standing right in the middle of the road, it's part and parcel of being a Highland midwife, really. But it can be interesting when there's a little bit of a standoff, which is what we've got now. So it's just going to be who's got more patience than the other one, really, who moves out of the way first. Thank you very much. I think of being a Highland midwife, you have to have a certain amount of grit and determination. There's no other job like it, really.
But being pregnant in countryside this remote can be problematic. One of Alison's mums-to-be is Mihaela. She and husband Dimitri moved to Scotland from Romania a few years ago.
When I find out that I'm pregnant, it was very, very... I actually didn't believe it, like, oh, really? I'm having some worries about being a mom.
I'm nervous too. I've been to a few things in my life, like, seeing things, but not like a baby born. So I'm trying to be strong.
This is her first baby. Mihaela herself is quite isolated. She lives a little bit off the beaten track with not much family or friends around her for sort of support, which I think that's where we come in as an important part of her care. Just around about 28 weeks, we sort of like hit a few problems.
I was tested by Alison. When the results came, she phoned me and she told me that I have this problem. My mother had diabetes type 2, and that's why I also have this problem now in my pregnancy. I have to test my blood sugar levels 3 times a day. 6.7. It's very good.
Gestational diabetes in pregnancy, it can be serious. It can affect the mom and it can affect the baby. So obviously it does have to be well monitored through the whole of the pregnancy.
Hi, how are you? I'm good, thank you. I was waiting for you.
So just a routine check with yourself, just make sure everything's as it should be.
Alison knows that diabetes can cause a rise in blood pressure, which could be a problem for mum and baby.
I just want to make sure I'm hearing your blood pressure because I think it might be a little bit up, but we'll just make sure that it doesn't start creeping up because it can do towards the end, but we'll just keep an eye on it, make sure everything's okay with that, but that's okay today.
Thank you.
Okay, sweetie. He looks like he's growing really well.
Yeah, my belly.
You're blooming. If you need me, give me a call. All right, sweetheart, you take care. All right, and I'll see you soon. When you've been looking after a lady right from day one, you build that bond, you build that relationship, and Mihaela and I have built a really lovely midwife-patient relationship, and she's a lovely, lovely girl.
But Mihaela is getting increasingly worried that the rest of her pregnancy in a Scottish winter could be tricky.
Having all this snow and this weather is a little bit stressful. If the baby wants to come earlier, it's stressful.
Back in Fort William, midwife Pam's blood tests reveal mum-to-be Michelle does not have diabetes. But she is growing an overly large baby, and that can affect where Michelle's baby can be born.
Michelle still wants to deliver in the Belford with us in Fort William. So at the moment, I'm in the understanding that that's the plan. The only reason that the plan could change was that people would be worried about the actual size of the baby.
With only 2 weeks to go, Michelle is still working in a local hotel.
I think it's just made me feel much better to keep active. I definitely don't feel 2 weeks away from giving birth anyway.
But midwife Pam now wants Michelle to go for a scan tomorrow at the hospital in Inverness.
Quite nervous about the scan tomorrow because I'll be able to find out whether I can have the baby in Fort William in the Belford Hospital. So tomorrow's a big day, really. I think having a baby in the Highlands is much more daunting. Being in a city, you're just pretty much closer to a hospital. So living here, you've got to plan more. You've just got to hope that you'll get to the nearest hospital in time.
Michelle's husband, Mark, works at the local airport.
51 confirmation, Roger, enter Charlie.
He's acutely aware of how quickly the weather changes here and how big an impact that might have on where Michelle gives birth.
See, at this time of year, during the winter, the weather can be very unpredictable. So there's always the worry in the back of your mind, obviously being able to get to your destination, get to the hospital. Snow, ice, even the heavy rain could come along, or heavy winds, so disruption can be there.
It's the morning of the scan, and Michelle and Mark face a 2.5-hour drive to the city hospital in Inverness, where there are the technical facilities to do it.
This is the journey we would have to do if we ended up having to go up to Regmore, which is a very windy journey. The roads are not the greatest for being in labour. It's a long journey and I don't want to do it.
That's good, Anne.
The scan will give an accurate estimate of the baby's size.
Now, size-wise, let me see, we're coming in at just on the £8 mark.
Right, okay. Did you see my sister? Don't really know what's going on.
Seems quite promising.
Oh, we never know.
Back in Fort William, midwife Pam knows that this scan will determine whether Michelle gets the local birth she wants.
At the Belford, we are a low-risk unit, so we do normal deliveries and normal midwifery care. So anything that is deviating from what we expect to be normal, we would transfer that lady from the Belford to the Raigmore Hospital.
Raigmore have decided the safest options to come up here. That's obviously going by if I go to term, because they're thinking she would probably be about £9 by then. See what my midwife Pam says. Yeah, I just feel a bit disappointed with today's outcome.
Further north, Siobhan is on her way to see midwife Claire. She has been keeping a close eye on Siobhan's MS, but what complicates things is that the condition isn't always harmful in pregnancy.
MS doesn't seem to have a negative impact on pregnancy, and in fact it can be positive for some women, especially in the third trimester, which we think is due to hormones, although the exact effect isn't absolutely known. You've had another episode of the blurred vision, is that right?
Yeah, I think it might have been to do with the heat, because it was really hot.
Right, you thought that before, didn't you?
Yeah.
When you had the bath, and you were probably hot with the bath. Are you feeling well otherwise?
Yeah, I'm still just not sleeping. I just need a good sleep.
With Siobhan now fast approaching her due date, she wants to talk to her midwife about the kind of birth she will have.
Obviously I've got in my head what I would really like, but I would just like to be in the hospital, deliver the baby within like 10 minutes and that's it sorted.
Maybe 20 minutes, 10 minutes, we might not have time to put our gloves on.
Now we just need to hope for baby to arrive sometime soon. Hopefully, very soon.
Back on the west coast near Fort William, midwife Alison is off to see her most remote patient.
And that part is going there?
Mihaela is due to have her baby in hospital tomorrow.
Mihaela's quite anxious, but I think that has more to do with the fact that it's her first baby and she's not sure what to expect. You know, how is she going to cope with the pain? Labour can turn on the flip of a coin. 1 minute everything can be perfectly normal, and the next minute they need to be observed a little bit more closely. Hello! Hi! So, how are we doing?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Are you all excited, nervous? How are you feeling?
I'm excited, just one more day left.
But midwife Alison is still concerned about Mihaela's blood pressure.
What can happen if I have the blood pressure this high?
You're at an increased risk of having fits. If your blood pressure is high, it reduces the capabilities of the cord. The blood flow, the oxygen, everything that's going through to baby is constricted and doesn't work quite so well, okay? And that's what happens with high blood pressure. Okay, I'm going to leave that for 10 minutes because that's reading quite high, okay? I might just quickly phone the registrar at the hospital.
But the remoteness of the area that Mum lives in gives Alison another problem.
You struggle for signal out here, though, don't you?
Yeah, but outside is okay.
Outside's okay, okay, so I can always
just in the house, I don't know why.
Oh, okay. Hi there, I'm on a home visit to one of my ladies, Mihaela. I'm just done her blood pressure and it's 130 over 100. Okay, so if it remains high and I do it for the second time, you'd like her to come up to yourselves. Okay, that's perfect. Thank you very much indeed. She does live
pretty much out in the middle of nowhere, so I'd rather err on the side of caution and make sure that everything's in place to make sure that we don't put Mihaela or the baby at risk. So where's Dimitri today? Is he at work? Down in Fort William?
Yeah, in Fort William at the bridge.
So I'm still hearing it quite high, okay? Because it's still high, the hospital, they'd like you to go in today, not tomorrow.
Oh.
Okay? Nothing to worry about, okay? But bear with me 2 seconds, let me just go and phone the doctor.
While midwife Alison tries to call the hospital, Mihaela faces the same problem with getting through to her husband Dimitri.
I don't have signal. Oh. I'll try again.
So it's not really moved at all. Would you prefer she came up by ambulance?
I should go to the hospital today.
Okay, I'm coming now.
You can't mess around with high blood pressure. Just because she hasn't got any symptoms now doesn't mean that she could develop them overnight, and it is a little bit of a shock.
Midwife Alison stays with Mihaela until Dimitri manages to arrive.
Give me a cuddle.
Mihaela and Dimitri have a worrying journey ahead to the city hospital. Even getting to the main road is a 4-mile trip.
I don't feel like is something wrong, but who knows? Maybe it's affecting the baby.
While midwife Alison is busy at the unit at the Belford, her mum-to-be Mihaela is arriving at Raigmore Hospital in Inverness.
Mihaela's gone up to hospital because I wasn't happy with her blood pressure readings. The plan is to induce her labour. I think they're going to bring that forward by 24 hours.
The labour is starting. And I already started to feel my stomach like tight, which means that I might have contractions now.
You are in good hands. Alison will take care of you.
Yeah, she's not here to encourage me.
This change in Mihaela's birth plan is in the best interests of her and the baby, but leaves Alison with mixed feelings.
I am absolutely gutted that I'm not going to be there at the delivery. Mihaela and I have struck up a really close bond with each other, but she will be looked after brilliantly with the girls up at, the whole team up at the Raigmore.
Mihaela is now in the capable hands of the night shift team. She's in labour for the very first time, and it looks as if it's going to be a long night for the couple.
Do you want some diamorphine? Yes. Try and you keep using your gas in the meantime.
Back in Fort William, midwife Pam is on her way to see her mum-to-be Michelle, in the kind of weather that makes giving birth in the Highlands so uncertain.
She's been for a scan since I last seen her, so I need to update with Michelle about what was said and what her choices are.
Still quite nervous about the birth. No matter how many you've had, it's still very nerve-wracking to go through.
There's a lot of different emotions with it, especially worried about travel and the safety of Michelle and the baby.
Even though the city hospital doctor advised against it because her baby is growing too big, Michelle is still determined to have her baby locally with midwife Pam at the Belford.
I just have naturally big babies, but I'm trying not to stress about it.
Hello, come in. Nice to see you, thank you. Tell me a little bit about the situation, what they said to you at the scan.
Yeah, so the scan, the sonographer was happy with everything. The doctor that came to speak to us, he was more concerned about the weight. So he was saying it's the shoulders he was worried about in case they got stuck. After discussing it with Mark, he was more concerned about the distance as well to travel.
It's a very difficult situation. If, as experienced midwives, we feel that things aren't going as we would expect them to, then that would be when we would consider transferring you through to the Regmore. And you and I both know that the Regmore is near enough 70 miles away and we could be having poor road conditions due to weather. If we needed to, everything would be discussed with you and the reasons for.
Yeah.
Don't be worrying, relax.
Try not to stress out about situations.
Yeah.
All the best.
And I'll
see you next week.
Yeah, it's a long way to travel, you know, and especially now we've seen the snows come.
I think it'll be a nice straightforward delivery.
So I can see Regmore's pointing in the distance and the weather and time of year, and obviously the safety, but I'd love to have her in the Belford.
As a midwife, you're there to try and give a woman the best possible care that you can according to her wishes. But you also, as a professional, need to think of the risk factors that might be part of your whole assessment of the woman and to keep her and her unborn baby as safe as possible.
Back in Sutherland, midwife Claire is still monitoring mum-to-be Siobhan and the impact of MS on her pregnancy. But now it's the birth itself that is uppermost in Siobhan's mind.
Thank you.
I think I'm slightly worrying just because I'm so scared that things will stop and start like with Harvey.
Hopefully, being your second labour and birth, it will be a completely different experience the first time. You had a
That's
really...
my worry though, because I did get to, I was 9 centimetres by the time I got to the hospital. If it's going to be faster this time, I'm going to have to go as soon as I feel anything.
Yeah.
I need to get
Yeah,
there.
we don't want you stopping on any of the bridges. That's where the babies seem to be born on the route, so we don't like that.
Right. Thank you.
Midwife Claire can see how worried Siobhan is getting.
I think Siobhan is concerned about getting to Regmore in time. Hopefully if she phones early on in labour, then there'll be plenty of time to get down there, but it is just important that she knows what to do if she does get caught short, and it seems to be a very, very, very quick labour.
As soon as I have any niggles or if I think I'm in labour, I will probably be jumping straight in the car and going. I would rather get there and then to tell me, oh right, you're in early stages, than be like, pull over, this baby's coming.
In Inverness, first-time mum Mihaela has been in labour for 10.5 hours. Midwife Lisa knows the baby is getting close.
I feel like I want to push.
You feel like you want to push?
Yeah. Oh.
That's okay. You're doing great. You're doing great.
Why he's not coming out? I'm pushing so hard.
You are, but you've nudged this head amazingly well. Don't forget, it's the first time your body's doing this.
Husband Dimitri hasn't left her side for a minute.
Oh, she's perfect. She's so strong and brave. Oh. I feel proud. Very brave mommy.
So I'm just going to wait and see with the next couple of contractions. This baby's coping very well in there.
Oh.
You're gonna be a great mommy, and very soon you're gonna hold the baby.
After 12 hours of labour, Lisa realises that Mihaela is moments from giving birth.
Well done. Well done. Brilliant. You're making it look very easy. That's it. That's brilliant. Beautiful, beautiful. Oh, that's fantastic. Don't give up. Long push, go on. There you go.
One more.
Oh. Beautiful. Oh, that's fantastic. Dimitri, do you want to see the head?
Yes. Yes.
Oh. There we go. Here, Dimitri. There we go.
You're with Mom and Dad now.
Don't cry. No.
A very special gift from the heaven. Look at him. Oh.
Hey. There we go. This head is so cute. I feel the most happy ever. I'm very happy to have him in my arms.
Back in Fort William, fourth-time mum, Michelle, has rushed to the local Belford hospital where she's keen to give birth. She's feeling pain and suspects her baby might be on the way.
Hi.
Michelle and Mark are met by midwife Pam's colleague, Caroline.
They've been quite intense now,
Right.
they've been uncomfortable, but I can cope with them.
Right. I want to pop onto the bed and just have a wee feel of your tummy. But obviously the risk of me doing a vaginal examination is that I rupture your membranes, so you need to be aware of that. Are you still okay with me to go
Yeah,
ahead?
that's fine.
I can feel baby's head. Needs to come down a fraction.
It's not uncomfortable at all, actually. Yet.
Yeah. It is favourable. I don't think you're in labour yet, but I don't think it's too far away.
Right, okay.
See how you go down the road, and if you think things are picking up, please come back.
But midwife Caroline knows that these early stages can last any time from a few hours to a few days.
Things are looking good for her to go into labour at some point in the next 24 hours, I hope.
In Sutherland, mum-to-be Siobhan was worried about getting to the hospital when she went into labour.
Don't want you stopping on any of the bridges. That's where the babies seem to be born on the route, so we don't like that.
Now Siobhan is being blue-lit to Raigmore Hospital.
Siobhan, listen to me. I want you to breathe in and out nice and slow. You're breathing too fast.
When Siobhan arrives in the labour ward, midwife Anne has to take control.
Okay, Siobhan, listen to me. I don't think there's a contraction there just now. I want you to stop breathing the gas in the air if there's no contraction. Okay, I think what you're feeling is lots of pressure.
I really need something else for the baby.
Listen, there's no point in giving you anything else just now.
I need to.
No, you've got your gas in the air, and if you push with a contraction, this baby will come. All right, you use the contraction and just push.
Without time for pain relief, the midwife on duty needs to help Siobhan.
Long breaths, Siobhan. Big long breaths for me. That's the girl. Now, if you feel like pushing, just give me a push, okay? See, the next time you get a contraction, I want you to give me a great big push, okay? You listening to me?
Yeah. I'm just so hot.
I know.
You're nearly there.
If the contraction's there, I want you to push. Right, is that pain gone?
Oh, it's still sore.
I know, because there's a baby's head sitting there. Without the gas in there, I want you to take a big deep breath and give me a long hard push into your bottom.
Oh!
Right, no, not into your throat, I want you down into your bottom. Push into your bottom. And again, a wee bit more. And a wee bit more.
That's it, right into your bottom, that's it. Give me a little rub up.
Just 15 minutes after arriving at the hospital, Siobhan's second son is born.
As soon as you see the baby, it was worth every bit of pain anyway. You don't think that you could love someone like as much, and then I just love him and Harvey so much. It's crazy. I'm already thinking I could do it again. No, I'm not really. It's definitely last baby. I think health-wise it has to be, but yeah. Look at him.
In Fort William, mum-to-be Michelle and her husband Mark have come back to the Belford Hospital. Midwife Caroline is still on duty, and this time Michelle is certain her labour has started.
I think 2 minutes apart.
It's okay. That's a good. Now take some nice big breaths in and just blow them away. Michelle, do you want to use some gas therapy? Okay, I don't think you'll be long. Right, Michelle, this is ready for you to use if and when you want to start using it, okay? Right, when you're ready, I want you to lie down so I can have a wee feel at your tummy. I think I'm going to call the second midwife, okay?
Take deep breaths, come on, into the ears, take deep breaths.
Nice. You're doing very well.
In the local hospital in Fort William, fourth-time mum Michelle is exactly where she wanted to be.
Just have a wee look down. And just let the head come down nice and slowly in its own time. Right, Michelle, don't forget to breathe, pet. That's a girl. You're doing fine.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Well done. Pant, 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 pant. That's your baby's head out, okay? That's fine, just take your time. Baby's turning round. Michelle, look. No! There we go. There we go. Yeah, she's fine. I'm just going to get a wee towel to that round her. Oh, is she okay? Yeah, she's fine. You did all the hard work, Michelle. Look. Who's she like? Yes. There we go. Here we are. How nice is that? Well done, you. You're obviously just built to have babies, Michelle.
40 minutes after arriving at hospital, Michelle has given birth to a baby girl.
Poor Mark's going to be surrounded by women. She did very well, and it's a privilege to be at such a special moment, even after 30 odd years. She came quite quickly in the end, so kind of shocked still.
See the wee ones coming in, first breath, first scream. There's no words I can say what it feels like, to be fair, you know what I mean? It's just absolutely fantastic.
I think we'll call you Carla.
Where's Pam?
On her way home from Glasgow.
Hearing that Michelle is in labour, midwife Pam has rushed back and arrives just after the birth.
Hello! Congratulations! Congratulations!
Congratulations.
Oh, look! Isn't she just beautiful? Oh, so I missed the main event, but we'll check her over now and we will weigh her and measure her and put her name bands on and all that sort of thing.
Michelle had a scan, which estimated Carla to be a 9-pound baby. Now it's time for the moment of truth.
8'4". There you go.
You said 8'2", didn't you?
Yeah, we thought around 8'2" and 8'4". Not bad, not bad. Oh my, look at you. Hello, darling. Let's measure your height. Very important to try and enable people to have the delivery they wish to have. We're very, very pleased that it wasn't a huge baby, but just the right size. I became a midwife to look after ladies and help them through their pregnancies and labours and deliveries, so it's just a wonderful, wonderful time.
The first visit after the birth is a special one for mum and midwife.
I am absolutely buzzing to go and see them. So excited just to catch up with Michaela and see her baby and make sure that they're both okay.
Hello. Hi. I'm good. You clever, clever girl. Look at him. He's beautiful. Little Noah.
And how was it all?
It was good. It was a little hard, but I could pass through it.
Yeah, and your blood sugars are all okay?
Back to normal now.
Good.
I have no more problems like before. And
good, so you can eat your cake now.
Yeah.
And can I have a cuddle? Come here, big fella. Hello. Hello. Oh dear, you didn't want that.
No worries.
You didn't want that. Hello, big fella. It is amazing to think what the human can do and you know, give birth and have this little bundle here. And he's safe and he's well. Mihaela looks amazing and he's beautiful, aren't you?
We couldn't do it without you.
Oh, you could. We just help you. Goodbye, little man. You'll be good for mummy.
Thank you very much for everything. Bye.
She's all back to normal, so all her blood sugars have all gone back to normal. She's settled into motherhood really well. I'm so proud of her. When you come to the end of a journey with a couple and that baby is there and it's safe, you know that you've done everything that you possibly can to help them. There's no greater feeling than knowing that you've been part of that process.
Midwife Claire is off to see Siobhan and is excited to meet the new arrival, Dwayne.
I always love the first visit, getting to meet these little babies that we've been meeting in the womb for 9 months or so.
Claire monitored Siobhan's MS throughout her pregnancy and is keen to find out if it impacted on her birth.
Come on, darling. Hello. I'm glad to see you here on the outside.
Do you think with your MS, was there anything different about the sort of labour and birth that you noticed?
I just had pain in my leg with the way that I was delivering him, but we didn't really have time to discuss anything or to move. I just had to have him.
I phoned an ambulance and we literally arrived within 15 minutes of baby arriving.
He would have come in the car otherwise.
Yes, definitely. And we always want to avoid that. It causes a bit of a mess. Oh, what a little frown. He's very contained, isn't he?
He's like that. He very rarely cries.
Perfect, that's what Mum was needing after a tough pregnancy. As a very contained little baby. Bye.
Bye. Well, Claire's been lovely. She's been great the whole time. She's always been there for me. And it's sad saying goodbye.
In Fort William, midwife Pam is paying her final visit to Michelle. For midwife and mum, it's an emotional moment.
Hello. Lovely to see you. Hello, baby.
There you are. Hello. I think it's quite emotional. Well, I'm quite emotional. I blame hormones. Because I've been with you for the whole journey, so you know it's 9 months of visits.
That's the end of my postnatal visit to you. Discharge you off the books now, Michelle. Wish you all the very best with your beautiful little baby girl, and just keep enjoying her because she's just very, very special.
I think she just wants cuddles.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So sad.
It's so rewarding just to help somebody through the entire process. And the baby's thriving, and Michelle, as you can see, is keeping well and thriving herself. And I think that's a success story.